mask. Tommy Case runs away, but soon he has to turn his flashlight back on if he ever hopes to find the exit. Instead, he finds the same person again, but this time he manages to escape without looking back. Since the person just stands there and never reaches out for him, I think this is almost definitely a skit, but a well done one all the same. Leviathan published this video on February 18th, 2016, writing, "In March 2015, I went on a hiking trip in the woods of Monrova, Czech Republic. He said after a few hours of walking, he suddenly heard some strange sounds coming from south of him. While walking through a mossy wooded area, he hears a sound echo throughout the forest. The camera shot moves towards the sound, and the fearless hiker decides to enter deeper into the forest to investigate. He comes across some tracks that look Bigfoot-esque, in the shape of human feet, only bigger. Deciding he'd rather live than come face to face with this creature, he gets the heck out of Dodge, but as he's leaving, the strange call is heard in the forest again. It's almost like the wind is screaming, but the day is absolutely calm. On the way back to his car, he claims that he heard the noise the whole way. While guesses as to what this creature might be range from Bigfoot to werewolves, one thing's for certain: stay out of the forest. This video shows evidence of the terrifying unknown, as strange lights were captured in the Tokyo sky on June 26, 2020. Some suggest the lights are not those of unidentified flying devices, but rather of Starlink, SpaceX's satellite constellation, which is being built with the aim to provide nearly worldwide internet access by 2022. These low Earth orbit satellites are mass-produced and work with ground transceivers. Could that be nothing but a project by Elon Musk? Others suggest it's simply air traffic approaching the airport. Redditor Bacon for Life writes, "Well, it is spooky when there's a bit of a traffic jam to come into the airport. Aircraft turn their landing lights on quite high and far out so that it's easy for the tower to identify each of them. Still a good spooky video though. Do you agree with these assertions? Or is this just another thing they don't want us to see?" While sitting around playing video games, little did this guy know he was about to be in one. Published by C. Sano Act in November of 2011, this guy was hanging out in the living room when he heard something from the kitchen. Getting up to check it out, he doesn't seem to see anything of substance, but something of substance knocks him to the floor. He's dragged across the room and out of sight. Is this ghost hinting that he should get his homework done? Or does this house have a serious poltergeist in residence? It'd be hard to ignore after an incident like this. The next time you look into your baby monitor, you might find an unnerving guardian angel. That's what happened to a friend of XXBlazenXX, who posted this clip to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The Redditor writes in the comments, "A friend of mine had recently put her child to bed, and she has gone through every single thought of how to justify this figure, but it looks like a little child walking in and around the crib. By the time log on the baby monitor, you can see it's around 9:40 p.m., and if you look closely, you'll catch a ghost white shadow figure walk around the back of the crib as the baby sleeps on. The figure creeps around one side of the crib before pacing back to the head of the crib and coming slightly around the other side. Then it moves back. At the end of the clip, it appears most visible, leaving its sential spot, probably in order to make itself a sandwich. What was this phantom caretaker doing? Do you think it's a friendly guardian, or does the babysitter have evil intent? Whatever the case, safeguard that baby. It's better to be safe than sorry." YouTuber Amy's Crypt visits the haunted Farrar Elementary School in this creepy video. Upon entering, they're warned by the spirits. They're told very clearly what hides behind a locked door.
Can you tell us what is behind this door?
It looks like there's a man in the tunnel, Joe.
I wonder who Bill is, and why is his door locked after receiving this message through the spirit box?
Farah. Pot.
Did it say pot?
Pot.
How come we didn't say it out loud?
It did say it out loud. I've heard people talk about little kids haunting here.
They find the message again spelled out for them.
Pot! Oh, that is crazy.
As they continue their exploration, they hear movement.
Celeste here.
In another room, they hear tapping.
Okay.
And then as they enter the bathroom, later, while speaking through the spirit box, they receive this message.
Okay. I don't know if I heard my name, but the bathrooms are down there.
Can you tell us about the bathrooms?
Did something happen in the school's bathroom? I feel like the spirits are really trying to tell Amy and Jared into their story. The clues are there, but putting them together is the hard part. This farmhouse has a paranormal feeling. Published by Ouija Brothers. The brothers are filming when one feels the hanging wallpaper move a little bit.
Yeah, just kind of moved a little bit. Did you touch it? I didn't touch it. I didn't move. I was this close away. I did feel some cold coming though.
Not long after, a strange noise is heard. A second clip taken by the cameraman captures the sound again from a different angle. It clearly wasn't him making the sound.
Okay. That? So yeah. I think it's the floor. I was like someone got a marble and rolled it. Hey? So yeah. I think it's the floor.
Later, they hear a knock and then a creepy voice. They find a cat in the house and then again outside. While the cat is cute and all, the house holds other creatures as well. These ones, not so cute. The enormous spider starts moving, and the brothers quickly wrap things up. While spirits are one thing, spiders are just a bit too much. Clay of a paranormal YouTube channel called Time to Play TV is exploring the old Hamilton County Jail in Jasper, Florida on a ghost hunting investigation. Built in 1893, this haunted jail was in operation for 101 years. It is the resting place of many who are believed to have returned as wailing apparitions, slamming doors shut and turning on the lights. Some sections have been remodeled, and this guest bedroom is where you'll find a creepy possessed doll. As they are moving the creepy doll from its crib to the bed, a bizarre shadow goes ahead of them and disappears under the bed. Anyway, they sit her up and set up paranormal equipment to better investigate, and that's when the situation goes from strange to beyond creepy. 4 minutes and 27 seconds into the video is when they are able to convince a ghost to communicate through EVP equipment.
Are you okay with us being in this room right now?
Yes.
Yes. Another yes.
Yeah.
I don't think these EVPs are pre-recorded messages on a fake ghost hunting app because the scary voices continue to make sense and answer very specific questions in real time.
Do you know who we are? Like, can you tell us our names?
A little ghost girl's voice says something I can't understand. And as the creepy doll moves by itself, the scary voice of a little ghost girl screams right before the doll falls over.
Oh my gosh. The doll just
That's been up for...
They sit the cursed toy upright and resume the paranormal experiment.
If that was a spirit, can you make one of the meters go off? Oh, whoa. Seen it?
What?
Look at my meter.
Many of the paranormal EVP they've caught on camera has been the voice of a child, so they logically infer that this could be a spirit of a child trapped inside of the doll.
Are you a young spirit? Are you a child? Look, you see that?
Somehow the doll creepily nods with agreement that it's possessed by a little girl, and then it presents them with some of the best paranormal evidence of the night.
I'm pretty sure that was you that maybe moved the doll and did the K2 meter. Now we'd like to. Whoa! Oh my! The K2 meter just fell over.
Somehow, upon the very mention of her paranormal equipment, her ghost meter, which is right by the doll's hand, falls over on its own, but the doll remains sitting up. Whatever this is, I think it's definitely paranormal and feeding off of their fearful energy.
Oh my Clay, this is so creepy. Whoa, okay.
This time they put the doll leaning back at an angle where it's impossible for it to fall forward by itself, and yet as they continue to speak, the toy leans forward and turns towards them as if making eye contact.
Who's making that doll move? It said I am.
The more they talk, the stronger it becomes, and after a while the doll is falling clear off the bed. It's too bad that we couldn't get a wider angle to prove that the ghost hunters weren't touching anything when it fell over. I feel like Clay could have ran his hand under the pillow to make it fall over, but they sound genuinely surprised, so I doubt it. Also, this final piece of paranormal evidence is enough proof in my mind that the Hamilton County Jail is quite haunted. They wait for their equipment to register movement and get nothing until they challenge it.
Don't be shy or scared. Maybe you're scared and you don't want to do it because you're scared.
Oh.
That works a lot.
Oh my gosh. Whoa.
I think this is real because if you listen close, it beeps as soon as he says the word scared.
Maybe you're scared and you don't want to do it because you're scared.
Oh.
Dr. Lost Syndrome published this video in May of 2014 writing, a little short video where Maskey gets some payback for the taggers ruining his hideout. The video follows a pair of teenagers in what looks to be an abandoned building in the wilderness. The building is full of graffiti, and one of the lads starts spraying some more over top of it. That's when they hear this strange noise. The first time they hear it, they brush it off. The second time, they start to wonder what's up. The camera is passed off to the dude while the girl continues spraying in the room. The man heads outside looking around the area and shouting hello.
Hello?
When there's no response, the two pass off the camera again and then again as the girl goes to check if there's anyone out there while the man continues spray painting. After painting a bit, the man scans the graffiti in the room. That's when he arrives at the door to find Maskey outlined in the doorway. The masked man charges him and knocks him to the ground. It appears the man is knocked out cold. What is unclear is what Maskey did with his body. Maskey's revenge is certainly not something you would want to think about as you fall asleep at night, and trust me on that one.
This ladder is walking down the driveway. No one's touching it. No one's around it. And it's actually walking down the driveway.
That's the reaction of Tony Dode as he videotapes a walking ladder on its own. The ladder clatters down the driveway as if someone is guiding it in short steps, but nobody is near. If you have any possible explanations for this, or have seen this before with your own eyes, then please share your experience. If no one has a proper explanation, then this is one of the most perplexing videos I think I've analyzed on this channel to date. Jake Atafi is in his living room when someone pulls open the screen door really slowly and just lets it shut. No follow-up knock, no footsteps walking away, nothing. Even his dog is wondering what the deal is. Jake stops recording to check and claims no one was outside. It's creepy, but it's too bad he didn't record out of his window to prove that his house is as haunted as he says it is. You might consider calling the cops on the intruder trespassing on your property at night, but when it turns out to be this woman, maybe you should call a ghost hunter instead. Posted to Twitter by Daniela Guerrero, she writes in Spanish, "Okay, my parents have a security company, and how about the officials of a condominium have just passed them a heavy video of what happened last night. The video shows a large yard with a small pool. In the distance, a woman dressed in white crosses the property. She has dark hair and moves steadily forward until she's closer to the camera. She strides across, clearly on a mission, and that mission is to evaporate in plain sight. The phantom trespasser disappears into the night as she rounds a corner. What does she want here, and where did she go? All questions and no answers. Perhaps that's what we're supposed to have." Two friends are live streaming in Malaysia when some of the scariest moments of their lives are caught on camera in front of all of her followers.
Sekarang pindah. Apa tu duk? Scary gila.
Shadows swirl overhead, and the door slams shut even though they are the only two people home. When she looks back, her friend is no longer the same person who she's always known.
Okay, stop.
If you look closely, you can see she grabs a cross out of her purse. As soon as she touches the object to her friend's arm, she screams as if the object burns her to the core. A couple other points for my final analysis. When the lights go out at 1 minute and 7 seconds, you can see a shadow person walk into the room. This shadow was caught on live stream and apparently is not special effects. 2, they are listening to some really creepy music before all of this scary stuff happens. It doesn't even sound like a song, just a slowed down chant of some kind. What is this person saying? And is this related to what happened to her friend? She seems very scared when she ends the live stream, and most people seem to agree this video is both paranormal and real.
Oh my god.
A person disguising themselves as a clown has apparently been stalking this family and now has their home address. Though why he is doing this, I'm not exactly sure. I think this video might not be real because the person filming stands very close to the glass, which could be broken out at any moment if he was truly crazy. She also attempts to reason with him, which seems like a waste of time compared to hiding or calling the police.
Just leave us alone.
I think the clown could have easily gotten in if he really wanted to, but if my suspicions are incorrect, then seeing this would be absolutely horrifying. In 2007, a YouTuber named Ben Ems uploaded this video made by his friend, Levi, who is reciting some lines for a play when something appears in the window.
I wish you were here.
The resolution is good for a YouTube video that's over 13 years old, so I don't think it's computer effects, but I do think it's planned. This is the reflection of someone who is probably standing behind the camera, not behind Levi. The upper corner gets brighter when they turn on the light to make the reflection appear in the window. So while this video is creepy, I doubt it's as real as Ben claims. If you thought food tutorials were never scary, think again. This video, posted by YouTuber Post Content, entitled Food Tutorial, was published in August of 2019. Don't let the title fool you. You won't be learning how to bake a cake with this one. The video starts in what appears to be an abandoned home. A flashlight shines against the cinder block wall, while the man filming asks, "Do you hear that?"
Do you hear that?
The camera pans to the floor, where a box cutter lies on the ground. There are some rumbling noises and then a loud sound, after which a regular rumbling is heard, like a cell phone ringing on vibrate. The man walks down some wooden stairs onto a lower floor of the house. The vibrating sound continues.
Okay, calm down. They're in the box.
The man tells himself to calm down and says they're in the box. What's in the box or who? The viewer is left to guess. Somehow you want to know and you don't want to know at the same time. He heads towards the far room, saying if there's anything else, he'll put them in the box as well.
If there's anyone else, I'll put them in the box as well.
Things just got creepier. He wanders around this abandoned home talking to himself and exits through a doorway, which leads outside to a forested area. He wanders through the heavy shrubbery, looking for ghosts, mumbling in a whisper.
Around in the bushes trying to find a strange noise.
He then comes across a rope. He follows the rope, then it falls dark. As his flashlight returns, you can see something red on the ground, but it's hard to tell what it is. He walks further, filming the ground. Still, it's unclear what exactly he's looking for. It appears he's arrived at a shed or barn with a vehicle and some farm equipment inside. There lies a bale of hay. Leaning against the bale is a sign that simply reads, "Hungry?" Atop the hay bale appears to be a head of cauliflower. The man puts down the camera, and you see a shadow lift the cauliflower to eat. He says eating it will keep them away, then is followed by a strange monologue, including a foreign language which, as some have said in the comments section, is Danish.
Men jeg er så træt. Jeg kan ikke huske en tid, før jeg var i det her hus.
If this is a tutorial about anything, it's about not eating a random head of cabbage sitting atop a hay bale at night. You might lose a tooth, but the question remains, what's in the box? This video takes place somewhere in the South American country of Chile during the middle of a street race. A number of cars rush past and soon an animal randomly materializes without making so much as a sound. Watch again in slow motion, and it really does appear as though the dog steps out of an invisible portal. You can see its front half emerge first, followed by the torso and back legs. Then again, the blurred edges around the dog's body does look like it could be made through editing. I am not an expert in video editing though by any means, so let me know if you think this is real or CGI and how you could tell the difference. It's a full moon and a YouTuber who goes by the name of Al Capone is in the most hectic cemetery I have ever seen. He can't even explain what he's been through without getting interrupted.
Okay, things moving behind tombstones while I was driving it.
Then listen to this at 4 minutes and 52 seconds.
No, behind me.
Oh, you heard it behind you. I heard it.
No, I heard what was by you, but I'm saying by the cars. Like
Al is talking when another man's voice speaks at the same time. What they hear a minute and a half later leaves their mouths hanging open. I mean, this could be neighbors from some of the nearby houses, except there's really no reason for anybody to be shouting near the cemetery in the middle of the night. Plus, the direction these voices are coming from is deeper in the cemetery, away from the houses and closer to the woods. And since this video was made in the middle of January 2020, I doubt anyone was out there camping. Bike Chin goes exploring haunted places in an undisclosed Arabic-speaking country and comes across a house I think I might have seen before in other videos. A house that should stay hidden but always gets explored. I think a lot of paranormal exploration channels come here because so much scary stuff happens almost every time. Weird things caught on camera like this. He waits until the flames die down and takes a few hesitant steps into the haunted bedroom. I don't understand why he turns his light off during the scariest moment, because that's when you would need your flashlight the most. It doesn't seem like a normal reaction, and the only reason I can think of is to let somebody set a controlled flame as part of a prepared stunt, which means this video, however creepy it may be, also has a strong chance of not being paranormal. I'll keep an eye out for other paranormal videos from this location, and if you know the name and country of this abandoned house, please let me know. Any information would be a great help. This YouTuber is exploring a cave in an undisclosed location when he sees something that freezes him in place. He steadies the camera and slowly zooms into the darkness. Staring back at him are two white eyes that are large and spaced far apart, signifying a large creature with a well-developed brow. The timing of his reaction seems very real and not staged. Also, this is the only video on the channel and it's from 2016. I did think that this video was fake at first because the name of the channel is Pro Films, but then I realized it just means he was recording with a GoPro. Also, this is the only video on the channel and it's from 2016. I'm just saying that if this was a fake channel, then there would probably be more videos similar to this one, but there's nothing else. A street cam video from Papua New Guinea has caught something really bizarre on tape that I wanted to get your opinion on. A pale apparition appears to form under a street signal, and what it does next leaves government workers speechless. This ghost sighting could be a trick of the light. You can see the headlights of an approaching vehicle at 12 seconds right when the ghost supposedly flies up into the air. What they think is a ghost could be an optical illusion caused by rays of light bending towards the camera on a rainy day. A Spanish-speaking YouTube channel called Fearless Omar Crew pairs up with Ricky Velasquez to track down what they are calling the most cursed witch in the world. Silently watching from within a hideout in the middle of the woods is a dark figure. Their high-powered survival flashlight does nothing to brighten its face, even when shined directly in the window. They should run away screaming for help then and there because, nobody wants to get a curse after all. But the group decides to go on the offensive and confront whoever or whatever is inside. Waiting for them is this creepy doll pointing their way. Again, running away and getting help seems like the smartest possible option at this point, but they instead walk around while actually holding the doll, checking every hiding spot possible. Then they hear this disembodied voice in an area that they just looked in moments before.
¿Quién eres?
I think it might be the witch taunting them further. Perhaps the doll was not pointing at them earlier, but rather at someone behind them. Anyway, as they are trying to make sense of the situation, this noise scatters their thoughts. If you speak Spanish, please give us a rundown on their conversation before this happens, as well as their reaction after.
Es que si algo mejor. Luego cuando estoy agarrando el celular me pongo una, pero ahorita si me puedo poner las dos.
That absolutely sounded like a cackle of a witch taking enjoyment in their fear, or at least a woman who lost her mind long ago. Maybe whoever was laughing was also placing a powerful curse on them both, one that I hope does not extend to me and you. This strange deer keeps repeatedly wandering into the yard of a YouTuber named Free Tickies. It seems to be without a herd, so at first Free Tickies suspects that it could be someone's pet, which is not all that uncommon of an occurrence where he lives in Kentucky. After a minute or so, it becomes evident that this deer is sick with something quite serious. Watch here and you'll see how the deer looks disoriented enough to walk up to another neighbor's house. I have little doubt that it would have wandered straight through the front door if it was open, potentially contaminating the entire inside. The YouTuber says that he called the local wildlife authorities and reported the deer shortly after recording this 2-minute video. I think he keeps a respectful distance for the most part and appears to be safe from any potential contamination. As for the deer, it sadly had to be put down by government officials after it kept walking onto the nearby Route 8 highway. A man at work accidentally locks himself in a large attic. He's trying to open the door when he hears a strange noise and decides to start recording. He thinks out loud that it could be a rat or a pipe as he cautiously continues to film.
I'm getting kind of a spooky vibe up here. Right there. There it is again.
Soon he realizes that the strange thump is coming from the very top of some steps that he has never seen before. He climbs the steps and suddenly feels like he is no longer alone.
Hello?
Apparently, he was right.
Whoa!
Something clatters to the ground and sends him running down the steps. I'm not sure how he managed to get out, but when he did, I'm sure he was glad he had plenty of video evidence to back up his claims. This submission comes from my new subreddit, where you can post whatever bizarre things you come across in your everyday life. It's reddit.com/r/chillsnarrator if you want to check it out. Lost Cosmonaut 01 says that he has been dealing with paranormal stuff ever since he was a child. Apparently, spirits have always taken an interest in him. Anyway, he lives alone, and one night he managed to take a picture of this possible ghost sighting in his basement. What interests me is that this streak of light highly resembles whatever was shown in number 4. If anyone has an explanation besides the paranormal as to how this could have been caused, then please let me know, and be sure to keep your submissions coming. A garbage man in New York City leaked this video online to show us a scary side of the industry that we were never meant to see. He needs to pull this dumpster down an alley to the garbage truck. Most of us would walk right up and grab the handle, but the veteran worker does something important first. He kicks the dumpster and waits. That's because out here you can get surrounded by a mob of rats. If you walk up to their territory without giving them a heads up, kicking makes them scatter away.
Come on, bro. Come on. Get your stuff together and get out of here. Get all your boys. Tell all your boys, let's go. Yeah.
This dumpster must not have much food in it because only a few run away instead of dozens like normal. Now comes the hard part.
Now we're going to attempt to move the can.
He gives a sharp tug and lets go. When nothing confronts him, he proceeds. He gets halfway down the alley when something creepy decides to make his day twice as difficult.
Still. Come on, bro. You gotta go. Can't go back in there.
This one is smaller than the rest, but it's stuck around longer than the others and seems twice as territorial. It starts to run away and then it gets another idea. I'm not sure if he fell over or dropped the camera, but the rat, scared and caught up in the moment, jumped straight at him. It looks like an aggressive move rather than just trying to get away. That rat did not want to give up its dumpster. This is why garbage men are paid more than teachers. Jokes the top comment of this video. I'm not sure if this statement is true, but after seeing this video, do you agree with it or not? And if this is how crazy just one rat acts, imagine how scary it would be to get chased down an alleyway by a whole swarm of them. Talk about a tough and thankless job. Folkloric creature is insanely creepy. Published to YouTube by Romeo Candid in November of 2007, this clip claims to show a real mananagal. Some info on this mythical creature. The mananagal is a traditional and mythical Filipino creature that's likened to a vampire or a witch. The details of this horrible creature's prey are even freakier. It is said to prey on pregnant women, especially those who are sleeping. New lovers or newlyweds are also prime targets for the Maninagal, which is said to have been abandoned at the altar. Now onto the clip. The video shows a group of people just hanging out in the dark, shining their flashlight everywhere. There's nothing for a while but darkness. That is, until everyone starts screaming as they see this ghastly female creature with black hair and greenish skin appear at a short distance. The creature turns to them as they cry out in horror. Many in the comments are rightly freaked out by this. YouTuber Andrew Gibbons offers a first-hand account of the Maninagal folktale, saying, "Well, one thing I know for sure that I heard from an elder is that it's an old folk tale to keep kids out of the woods at nighttime." YouTuber Chowsice01 adds, "Some say that they heard it flap its wings while they're in their houses, but who knows, it might just be a bat." He also says that some truly believe that these creatures are real. After watching this video, a ghost hunting team led by paranormal investigator Lavina goes exploring a haunted chapel in Dixon, Oklahoma, or they try to at least. Getting into the haunted place is not as easy as it would seem.
What the? She went to open that door and it come back on her.
At 42 seconds, one of the investigators opens the door a crack and it slams back with an unreasonable amount of force. Something from the other side, something paranormal perhaps, does not want them to go any further. They take the hint and don't stay for much longer, but apparently something has no problem opening up their door and coming with them for the ride home, as evidenced by this paranormal activity caught on their ghost meter equipment.
Is there a speaker following us?
Oh my!
Their paranormal equipment flips out when she gets stern with the supernatural.
You need to leave now.
He said no.
Lavina must have asked too many questions because soon she goes into a trance-like state and begins to nod even though she was very active and alert moments ago. She stares at them with an expression they do not like or recognize. As they wrestle the ghost meter out of her hands, her eyes are not how they've ever seen before.
Lavina, give me that.
Gotta go. Look, we need to go.
Give me that.
Get out of
Give me that thing.
Even she does not recognize herself. Tell me if you think they're acting or not.
You see it? Oh my eyes are like glowing.
Yeah. Like a bloodshot.
I am more skeptical, except faking this part doesn't explain the door slamming shut by itself or the ghost meter responding to their specific questions in real time. With that in mind, I think this paranormal investigation might be real. The evidence was probably not worth it in the long run, considered they may have inadvertently forged a spiritual attachment to something beyond the grave. ILMN Bono Paranormal goes exploring an abandoned factory that has become a haunted place, full of many ghost sightings ever since an accident cost several workers their lives 60 years ago. Soon they discover firsthand exactly how paranormal this place truly is.
No.
12 days later, he returns for more.
The big hole is there and no way. No way.
He says he's done, but he doesn't mean it. Everyone keeps begging for him to go back, and so 6 days later, he returns for his final paranormal exploration at the haunted abandoned factory.
You heard it. There is something.
When you go back and look again, it does look like a shadow figure is caught on tape.
Oh my god! Did you see that? Of course, it's not here anymore. I don't know if you saw that, but it was standing right here.
Standing just around the corner is a patch of darkness that is brighter than the rest. Was it a ghost sighting or somebody standing around the corner? Based on the other paranormal activity he's caught on camera, I think we all know the answer to this real ghost sighting. Are children still at play in this haunted orphanage? Extinct File explores this abandoned place, and it looks like someone is watching them. First, they hear the sound of children, which sends one of them running. Their EMF meter captures some energy near the stairs.
Mira, 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 mira.
Soon after, their radios go off.
El mío también.
Later, another reading puts them on edge.
Aquí.
And while listening into the radio, they hear someone breathing.
No mames. ¿Qué pedo?
And then a voice. But it is this shocking evidence at the end that proves this place is truly haunted. Did you see that? Along with a strange groan, look at the doorway below. A shadow figure is watching. Who is this mysterious shadow? I think it's the spirit of a former orphan of this asylum. This footage, published by Paranormal World in August of 2019, shows a scenic mountain and forest opposite an overpass. After completing a full 360 to take it all in, the camera falls to the cars whizzing past below before returning to the mountain. This time, the mountain isn't the only thing carving out the sky. A Godzilla-like creature peeks out from behind the mountain. At first, one might mistake it for the mountain itself, but it slowly begins to move, voiding that theory. While many in the comments say this is a good edit, some are more concerned by the man's reaction. YouTuber Dap writes, "If there is a Godzilla, you are running, not chewing gum." That's probably true, although other people note that the creature is friendly, so perhaps the cameraman had no need to fear him. Still, seeing a creature the size of a mountain would probably get your heart pumping. Friendly or not. Have you ever got the feeling that you're being followed? Poppy's Paradise posted this footage to Reddit writing, "Something is following me." The guy in the clip says he was driving when he noticed something outside in the darkness. He stopped his car on the side of the road to film whatever it is, and he shouts a greeting to the figure outside the window.
"There's something up here. Hello?"
As he drives slowly past, the something that he saw following him comes into view. The figure looks like a girl straight out of The Ring, dressed in white with long black hair. The ghastly creature is seen only for a moment before the clip ends. Is this thing truly following him? We can only hope this was his only sighting. You would need serious courage to stay calm in a situation like this. Michael is in the middle of making a rather innocent YouTube video when something from another world crosses over directly behind him.
With fishing and
Michael immediately gets up to inspect the toy set, and you can clearly see that there was no string attached. A string would show up easily against the dark wood of this table, and there's also a Coca-Cola can directly in the path of where a string would theoretically have to be. In fact, watch again and you'll clearly see that Michael moves directly in front of the toy and would have totally gotten in the way of a string. The blocks themselves look to be positioned relatively secure at the bottom of a wire band, but I guess they could have somehow fallen on their own. This is the same house that made number 2 on my list about mysterious things caught on tape in Texas. In that video, I verified that somebody really did have their life taken while exploring the premises. Now, someone may have actual footage of their ghost.
Whoa!
You can see what appears to be a small hand beacon them from the window. I guess they could have had a third person climb to the second floor to make this video as a prank. Can someone who has been brave enough to go inside of the house tell me if it's possible to get up to the second floor? If you can't get access to the second floor, then this video is probably real. Either way, many people claim to have seen the ghosts of small children in doorways and windows of the abandoned property. So even if this video is fake, then the house is almost definitely still haunted. A chef and his apprentice rummage around the kitchen to do some last-minute prep work before opening. One of them undoes the plastic ties from all of the bread and then takes a few steps away. Moments later, he looks over only to see a single remaining piece of bread raise itself in the air and land in the corner with a smack. He tries to explain what happened to a coworker as he examines the bread for anything wrong, finding nothing. I was waiting for it to jump back out after he throws it away, but I guess it's done moving for now. Everybody probably thought he was going crazy, and maybe he did too, until they checked out this haunting video for themselves and posted it online. An invasion of the home is violating enough, but what happens when the invader is a squatter? Posted by Slav Gavin to the Chills Narrator subreddit. This video was originally published to YouTube by Chino Sky Blue in April of 2017, who explains, "When I opened my front door, there was a girl squatting in my apartment. I had been renting the apartment since March 1st, but had not been staying there. On Friday, April 14th, when I entered my apartment to retrieve some clothes, this was who was in my apartment." At the beginning of the video, the woman in question runs up to the man filming, saying she didn't know she wasn't supposed to be here. She asks if he's going to show anyone this video, and he responds that he's calling the authorities. As the man continues to film, the woman says she doesn't want to get caught up in this, whatever that means, and claims she doesn't remember the previous night and just woke up here. She asks the man not to hold her there, but the man insists that she stay to explain to the authorities what's going on. She starts to panic, but he says he's not pressing charges against her.
I want you to stay here for the police when the police do come. But listen, I'm recording everything. I'm giving you my word that I just want you to explain it to the police, but I'm not trying to press no charges against you.
The only one he has a problem with is whoever has allowed her here. While the girl steps outside, claiming she doesn't know what's going on. That's where the video ends. We'd sure like an update on what happened after this, why this girl was squatting here, who let her in, and what happened as a result. But the channel hasn't posted any further videos. Does anyone have any idea what's going on here? Some in the comments think the man handled the situation well. Others suggest she's crazy and he should be more cautious with the situation. But YouTuber Macron435 perhaps has the most interesting theory. He writes, "Plot twist, that's her house."
This is a huge 10-foot fish. Even the locals don't even know what this is.
This underwater discovery is scary to visitors and locals alike because never before have they seen such a strange sea creature sighting. It's unknown exactly when this video was taken. Somewhere in Mexico is the best I could find, but I can tell you what this is called. It's an oarfish, and it gets its name because it's roughly as long as a rowing paddle. Everyone is perplexed by what to them is a mysterious encounter. In reality, the oarfish looks twice as aggressive as a shark, but actually poses no harm to you unless you are underwater plankton. Its main diet, strange appearance aside, There's one other reason to be afraid of this fish. According to Japanese folklore, oarfish wash ashore when an earthquake is coming soon. Apparently, it's happened so many times in the past that they've even done experiments to see if it's true. They weren't able to prove the myth true, but one lead scientist talked about changes in catfish behavior that have been observed up to 10 days before an earthquake. So if a catfish acts strange before an earthquake, then an oarfish could too, in my opinion. If anyone knows the date and location of this video, then please tell me. That way I could look up any reports of seismic activity after this video was taken to see if the legends are true. Impending earthquake or not, seeing this creature wash ashore on a sunny day and not knowing what it was would be enough to make me grab my luggage and get the heck out of there. That's one freaky fish I'd rather not chance brushing across in the water. Next time you're in India, cruising in the UP, you might want to avoid driving in the rain. This couple was nearly consumed by an unseen pit or manhole. Thankfully, bypassers came to their aid. After the couple was pulled to safety, I'm sure there wasn't much that could be done to save the scooter. The husband was a cop, and both did not walk away from the incident unscathed. I think this serves as an example to exercise extreme caution when driving through any body of water. A YouTuber named Seeking Legends has over 7 years worth of videos where he tracks down spirits and cryptids throughout the Las Vegas area and surrounding states. His subscribers know he doesn't play up his videos at all and isn't afraid to say when he thinks a location has nothing abnormal to offer. This wasn't the case when he went to a haunted forest on February 16, 2018 in search of the infamous White Witch, the spirit of a woman who once hiked this area a lot with her family and who was taken captive by unsavory locals. She escaped, but her family did not, and ever since then she has been roaming the woods looking for revenge. She cursed the land before taking her life in the very spot Cryptid Hunter stands now. He uses a paranormal dowsing rod, which is said to be able to tap into supernatural energy to better communicate with any nearby spirits. It isn't long before he finds one to speak with.
Can you point the rod to me? You see that I'm not moving this.
And I do mean speak with. There are no approaching footsteps, so it's not someone hiking, just eerie voices carrying over the water, just like the legends say, and the voices patiently wait until the command is complete before talking again.
Spin the rod in the opposite direction of me.
I don't think it's his nerves moving the rod, and his hand looks almost completely still to me, so maybe there's some truth to this piece of equipment after all.
If you were a victim of somebody in here, can you make my rod spin, please?
Here is an even better close-up of his hand at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. As the spirits continue to turn it around and around, none of his fingers are moving at all in the slightest. When asked for additional confirmation that the White Witch is here, two strange notes play. If you don't think this is paranormal, then tell me what you think would have made this noise in the middle of the forest. Soon he feels a presence guiding him and uses the rod to determine where to go next.
If this is where you want me to be, stop spinning the rod. Now, where are you standing? Point the rod.
These instructions are further confirmed using his EMF meter, and at the end is a strange beeping noise coming from deeper in the woods that the EMF meter can't even make.
If this is where you wanted me to stand.
And just to prove it wasn't a coincidence, he easily gets it to respond again.
Can you do that again? Thank you.
There's no button on the meter for him to press to make it go up, supernatural or not. This was all the work of an external force of some kind. Every time he challenges the witch to move the meter, it does so without fail. Like here, for example, the timing is too much of a coincidence to be fake.
Unless you can make this device go on, then I'm not going to believe that anything is here, haunting this area.
Apparently, it must have grown frustrated using the EMF meter over and over again, so it decides to answer his demands in a different way.
Make the lights go on. If you are the soul...
And before you say these are just lightning bugs, look again. They go from left to right one time, and then start over again in the exact same spot, so it's likely not an insect. It's getting dark soon, and the park closes, so Seeking Legends has to leave. Hopefully someday he returns to resume the conversation. But witch spirits aren't his only specialty. As mentioned before, Seeking Legends has experience hunting cryptids too. The desert cave is said to be plagued by skinwalkers, vicious tricksters of Native American legend who can assume a semi-human animal-like form. He isn't able to go down far because of breathing problems, but his worries start no sooner than the entrance when this glow stick, hung up as a marker to avoid getting lost, begins to sway in place all on its own. He's nowhere near where it begins to move, and maybe it's just me, but it looks like it's swinging even harder 3 minutes later, definitely not slowing down. Then outside of the cave, he hears what could be a Native American drum.
Listen, I hope the camera's catching that. Hello?
And with one hand on the camera and the other visible, the angle shows it couldn't have been him making the noise.
Please tell me you guys heard that.
I will admit that the drums are a little hard to hear, but this last part isn't. Try to tell me what this voice is saying, because it sounds like it might be a different language to me, perhaps even backwards. I'm interested to see if you think this is a skinwalker or voiceover editing. It sounds like it's coming from behind the camera to me, but I'm not sure. A doorbell cam video at 3 a.m. has caught some scary moments on tape that people need to see. Watch this and tell me if you think it's real or fake. A ghostly white apparition forms before the camera half a minute before 3 a.m. It looks pretty good at first, but then it kind of looks less real the longer you look at it. If I saw this phantom-like figure outside of my house at 3 a.m. like the uploader says they did, I would be absolutely terrified. Route 666 in Ohio is well known for all sorts of paranormal sightings, such as hitchhikers without a face and other demonic entities. With this in mind, a YouTuber named The Planet Earth decides to take a long drive down Route 666 at night and records everything with his dash cam. The entire 17-minute video is rife with fear and suspense as this YouTuber thinks he sees something multiple times and bravely stops the car to investigate. One part of the video is particularly concerning. Keep your eyes on the left side and tell me if you see anything weird in the darkness.
Okay. What is that? Waiting for.
I'm not sure if this is just a reflection of a road sign or something, but there appears to be two glowing eyes on the left side of the road. If these are reflective markers, then I'm not sure why someone would bother putting two of them in the middle of nowhere like that. With all of the rumors surrounding Route 666, I wouldn't be surprised if this red pair of eyes belonged to something supernatural, waiting for the next car to break down. A YouTube channel called Golden Hour travels to a local lake that is just barely frozen over. They walk out a pretty good distance and then start taking turns hitting the ice right next to each other with an axe. It's a crazy game they've just come up with to see whoever will fall through first. The only problem is that they aren't exactly sure how deep this part of the lake is and the temperature is freezing. They soon decide to end this game early before anyone gets hurt. But then they come up with another equally crazy variation. This time they stand on the ice and try to sink themselves instead of each other. Thankfully, the spot they are standing in is only knee deep, but I just wanted to stress that they could have easily been standing on a sharp embankment and could have gone completely under. If that would have happened, they wouldn't have had very long to get out before it's too late. If your house was haunted, would you stay or would you sell it for $100? Abdul Karim published this haunting video claiming that the house's owner is trying to sell the house for exactly that, but there is yet to be a willing buyer. From the get-go, it's clear something is in the house. As the video begins, a loud bang is heard on the top floor. Allahu Akbar! Allah, هذا مكان مسلمين. The man taking the video cries out as he climbs the stairs, walking toward the room from where the sounds are coming. As he does, the shattering of glass is heard downstairs. It seems there is more than one ghoul haunting the place, or maybe just a very energetic one, moving all the way over the home. He leaves the downstairs ghost to himself for a moment and continues forward, entering the haunted room. After walking in, it appears as though nothing and no one is there, but the door slams behind him. He rushes over and swings it open, but it slams aggressively closed again. Breathing heavily, he races out of the room. The door slams 3 times, over and over behind him. Finally, it slams closed for good and appears to be shut. The man, getting a second wind of courage, goes and kicks it open. He walks in the room, scanning the premises. Again, there's nothing to be found, but yet another door inside the room begins to slam shut as well. It does so repeatedly. The man walks towards it and around it. Nothing is there. No one is kicking it or causing all of this mayhem. It could only be the paranormal. As he enters another room, leading to a large outdoor balcony, something slams into the hanging overhead light, glass shattering, and the light swings back and forth. The video ends here. After watching it, there's little wonder no one is willing to pay even $100 to purchase this home. Who wants to live with all that racket? I certainly wouldn't. Don't look behind you. This scary video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. After witnessing something terrifying, this man flees to his car, but that something is there waiting for him. The creepy video, originally posted to TikTok by elkakoy.tv, also reveals what initially scared the man. But as we already know how it ends, the man clearly has nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. If I were him, I'd be getting the heck out of that house ASAP. Paranormal investigations can be a scary experience in a group, so imagine conducting one all by yourself. The Spectral Researchers of Central Florida is a group dedicated to investigating alleged paranormal activity from across the state. Aside from doing the normal group investigations, members have also gone to locations alone to explore and potentially collect evidence. This is a method often done by paranormal researchers and is therefore more susceptible to encounters. On February 21st, 2021, member Robert ventured to the Hall House, a former assisted living facility. With the help of a Kinect, he ventures through the building hoping the infrared dots on the device will help pick up any unseen entities. 3 minutes into the investigation, Robert captures a thump coming from behind him.
I just heard some big loud thump.
While it could easily be the sound of Robert walking, he has been walking around frequently throughout the video, and not once do his footsteps make a sound resembling such a noise. In fact, they are practically silent. Later, while in another room, Robert accidentally walks into something protruding from the wall. This is understandable as it was pitch black in the house, but what is strange is if you listen closely, you can hear someone whisper what sounds like toe. The voice sounds too high to be Robert's, and it doesn't appear to be his breathing, as the voice can be heard happening at the same time Robert is exhaling. Just before the 6-minute mark, he enters a room and asks whose room it was. Well, it is rather faint, an answer comes sounding along the lines of mine.
Again, are you a former resident?
Could whoever used to reside there be confirming it was they who lived there? One possible creepy moment happens when Robert is standing in another room, looking out into the hallway. Several green lights are projecting from a device on the floor to both help Robert see the walls in the dark and potentially capture any entities which might block out some of the beams. As he looks into the hall, it looks as if there is a figure standing at the opposite end. The figure appears to be wearing some sort of gown, which would make sense as this might have been the garments worn by a former resident. Robert doesn't appear to see the figure, possibly because of how dark the room was, and the apparition may have been more visible in the camera's night vision. It can be seen at several other instances when Robert looks down the hallway until it completely vanishes. Close to the halfway point of the investigation, Robert's camera appears to have a malfunction. Without explanation, the focus suddenly becomes fuzzy. Robert notices this and wonders if he accidentally zoomed in. However, us viewers can clearly see he did no such thing, and the vision blurred randomly as he panned over. Ghosts have been known to cause technical faults in electrical equipment, a phenomenon explained as entities drawing energy from the various devices investigators use. This can cause batteries to rapidly drain, lights to flicker, and even equipment to break. Luckily, the picture corrected itself after a minute. The picture returned to normal just as quickly as it had malfunctioned. One commenter points out they heard what they believe sounded like a woman saying, "I see nothing but the darkness as we move." Upon investigation, we could not hear what sounded like a woman speaking, but what it does sound like is the shuffling of feet and even a faint step. Robert is standing still at the time, so it is not him. Have a listen for yourself and see if you can hear the voice. The most compelling evidence comes when Robert can sense someone in the corner of the room. When he points the Kinect there, the device projects a figure seated, facing towards him.
Hello? Would you be able to tell me your name?
The figure even appears to brace itself against the wall to stand. When Robert asks for a name, the figure appears to either wave or gesture to something. It is difficult to determine which. Robert's investigation of the building definitely paid off with this discovery, and we are hoping the team returns to the location in the future. While not full of activity, there was certainly enough to determine something has remained long after the doors were closed for good. There's a strange roadside mystery in Cincinnati, Ohio, that's been creeping out residents ever since the 1940s. It's called the Oxford Light, and if you drive to a place where Milford Road and Earhart Road intersect and flash your headlights 3 times, you'll be sure to see it for yourself. Edward Kramer is one of the many videos on YouTube proving this trick really works.
Look at that. Look, there it is. There it is. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, they're not gonna stay up. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, look at that, man. What? Oh, that's just a car there. See, that's a car. I see that's yellow. That's a car. Wait a minute. What is that? What is that?
Make no mistake about it, there's no street lights out here and no oncoming traffic, just the Oxford Light in action. His experience, while strange, is like all of the others, and that's why I think it's real.
Now look, there it is already. See, there it is. It's way out in the distance.
Another YouTuber named T-Sherm1 is in a car full of friends when they see it for themselves. At first, they argue that it could be car headlights, but soon it becomes clear that this is a solid ball of bright white light that's growing brighter but not necessarily getting closer over time. They lose track of it over a hill, and when they come back up...
Here, we're gonna sit at the stop sign. We're gonna go figure out what this guy's doing.
Where'd he go?
All right, we're
let's go.
They are expecting to see a car, but are instead surprised to find the strange light has disappeared. This is what it looks like moments before disappearing. Not even a locomotive has lights this bright, let alone a normal car. I would add that there is some stop signs that reflect light, but that's not it because they don't look nearly as bright. According to legend, this is where a man once lost his life on a motorcycle or a tractor, depending on which version you believe. All I know is that in the comments of both videos are people who say they have been doing the exact same thing for years and that it works every single time. The Oxford light always seems to appear without fail and is here to stay. All of the locals know of it, and yet nobody truly understands why. This dog knows what's up. Published by Ghost Hunting Unique 0.4 in April of 2022. This dog is seen staring down the road. He then runs away without explanation. That's when this figure appears suddenly in the middle of the road. The figure later vanishes. But then this weirdo pops up, scaring a passerby. It's unclear what he wants, but he too vanishes after a moment. Later, another figure disappears as he's crossing the street. Is this just a road of no return? The Bermuda Triangle of pavement? Or is something else going on here? A ghost hunter named Valley Rojas detects paranormal activity on multiple K2 meters and sets up a camera in this living room to capture the action. Somehow this person is able to move all on its own, while 3 other pictures stay completely stationary, 2 on the same wall. I don't see how this could be faked considering whatever force they would have used to make the picture move would have also caused the ones next to it to move as well. Nothing else happens in the room that I can see, but then again, I don't think I need to see more to be convinced. Still, let me know if I missed anything else move. A YouTuber named Ruin Road wants to explore the old remains of the Hutchins Intermediate School in Detroit, Michigan. So he climbs through one of the blown out windows and rummages all around. He is getting some artistic shots of various angles and landscapes when he notices somebody is posted by a fence a few hundred feet away. Something feels off about the man, but he ignores it and keeps exploring. Some more time passes and Ruin Road eventually forgets all about the strange man, but then a noise in the next room swings him around. Ruin Road senses someone is coming for him and quickly gets out of the building fast. He later concludes that the person outside was serving as a lookout and that other people were coming into the building to jump him. I think there is a good possibility that this is true, but then again, maybe they were just some fellow urban explorers, or maybe he was being paranoid and there was no one around at all. With that said, I have in good fact heard about people getting robbed in abandoned buildings around Detroit, so I think it's good that he didn't stick around to find out. Randy Doss claims to live in a haunted house and offers this video evidence for proof.
I dare you to slam that door.
They start recording this video after the door opens all by itself, at which point they try to get the spirit to do something else. And with that said, the ghost seemingly takes up the challenge. Watch the crack in the door and you'll see there's absolutely nobody on the other side.
No.
Just for the record, it's only Nick and I here.
Just when the door almost slams shut, this happens.
Oh my god, no! Oh my god!
Whoa.
The obvious answer is that there is a child standing on the other side of the door, but look again. There appears to be nothing more than an empty sleeve, and more importantly, it doesn't make contact with the door at all. This makes me think that whatever forced the door open could have also rustled the nearby jacket too. Luna Meow has a natural ability to communicate with the paranormal that she intends to explore to the fullest on her ghost hunting channel by the same name.
Guys, to turn on the flashlight that's next to me. Please. Do you think you can do that? How many of you were married when you... Okay. I don't like that. That's scary.
At 17 seconds, she appears to feel a presence draw near, and when she looks over her shoulder a second time, the flashlight is on. It doesn't look like anyone is nearby, at least nobody who is alive. The object just turns on by itself like a ghost touches it.
Turn the flashlight on.
They aren't interested in answering any more questions and simply turn the flashlight off without further interaction. Maybe they just wanted to let Luna know that they were here, watching. During a different investigation, Luna and some friends try to summon a spirit, and it just might have worked.
Oh, look at it, look at it.
Thank you. You know other people are here, aren't you? Don't you?
Yes.
Will make you happy? Sorry.
But perhaps the creepiest video of all comes from the Omen House in Beverly Hills, California. This is where a nefarious group gained access to a famous celebrity's home, and she did not last against them for long. Their paranormal equipment detects the motion of a spirit nearby, though it could be detecting the movement of this ghost hunter picking up the K2 meter at 5 seconds. Still, if you look very closely, the K2 meter detects a spike of paranormal energy at the same time the motion sensors go off. And shortly thereafter, this mysterious blue light sweeps across the room that they all swear was not a flashlight. I have my doubts about this until one of the team bangs the shelf and jumps up and down to demonstrate that all of the items on this shelf are stable. But as soon as he walks away, this object falls over by itself, something which apparently happens all the time.
Want to show them one more time? A final goodbye before they all leave? Are you just gonna keep doing this? They're gonna jump.
The same exact object falls over all by itself. On one hand, the same object moving twice could be a sign of a ghost manipulating objects at will. But on the other hand, maybe this toy is simply unbalanced and falls over on its own a lot. Still, the fact that it happens while he is walking away seems to suggest that this is the work of a ghost with selective intelligence who wants attention. Jay Duncan is at home with his wife and daughter. When he looks out his door and sees a total stranger in rough shape, the man is having a fast-paced conversation with no one but himself, and he can't hold still for a single second.
He's just out there, man. He just won't go away.
When he finally notices Jay a full minute later, his first move is to immediately try the door. I can only imagine what this intruder would have done next had he gotten inside. Instead, he throws his hands up in exasperation, as if they have no right to keep their front door locked. He barks a series of threats and demands to be let in. I think he basically says he's through playing games with them, whatever that means. They snicker at him through the door until he gives up and gets into a relatively upscale truck to leave. Obviously, if he has a truck, then he also has a warm place to stay, which makes me wonder why he wanted to get into Jay Duncan's home to begin with. I think that maybe this person might have been out of their mind and thought they were outside of their own home. If so, I really hope they don't come back when Jay Duncan is asleep at night and try the same again. It's a dreary and overcast day when a YouTuber named Sharby straps a GoPro on his head and heads into an abandoned graveyard with his friends. This eerie graveyard is surrounded by woods and is in the middle of nowhere, as Sharby puts it, and they are hoping to find some adventure. They are checking out old headstones and goofing off when a frightening discovery suddenly changes the mood.
What? Is that a knife, dude?
It appears to be a rusty old crowbar that was perhaps used to dig up graves. Both Sharby and his friend instantly get a bad feeling, and Sharby throws it to the ground, suddenly wanting nothing to do with the ancient object. They keep exploring and eventually come across a grave from 1811. The unshakable feeling of dread just won't go away, and suddenly it begins to snow, which is very odd weather for October. Not too far away, they discovered a battered doll and get seriously freaked out by its mere presence.
Okay, yo, let's get the out of here, man. Yeah, no, okay, that's it.
Some branches snap in the nearby woods, and they quickly flee before they can find out what was near them. A TikToker paranormal team called Zodiac Supernatural is in the middle of the woods when this wild noise rips through an otherwise still night. Tell me if you can identify this creature, because it sounds massive and furious.
Really cold in this room.
I can't tell if it's being devoured, letting out a warning call, or just going crazy at their camera lights. I'm surprised that everyone doesn't immediately run away, which makes me wonder if they actually had some idea of what it was and possibly weren't telling us.
So it's really cold in this room.
Filmed in what appears to be an abandoned house, this explorer is searching out the lie of the Jinn. Published by Paranormal Maya in March of 2022, the cameraman tours the home in silence when all of a sudden he starts hearing strange noises in the next room.
Çantamdaki olayı düzelteceğim. Takır 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 takır.
He crouches down for a moment, waiting out the chaos. Then he approaches a previously empty room. Standing there is a mysterious cupboard set up with a mirror standing facing him. The man jumps back, wondering how this contraption could suddenly appear. He takes a step into the room, flashing his camera spotlight into the mirror. While standing there, he hears an EVP in Turkish that translates to "come from there." He kicks the mirror and the cardboard contraption over, stomping on it, and then pries a hanging horseshoe from the frame of the doorway. According to superstition, horseshoes hung over a doorway with their ends facing down means that good luck will spill over, stopping evil from entering. That doesn't appear to have worked in this case. A Pasco, Washington couple wants to get really scared, so together they concentrate deeply on finding a human through the Randonautica app, which takes them to a random dumpster on a hot summer day. They peel back the lid and find a single trash bag that looks full. By now, they are sufficiently terrified that they might have actually found something disturbing with Randonautica, and so they close the lid without exploring what's inside. After all, there's no need to call the police if you don't actually see anything. Here's a vintage ghost video taken back when most people did not know how to edit anything at all. A ghost hunter travels to an abandoned house in Virginia on a road in the woods with no streetlights and no neighbors. A CCTV system is set up, which looks old-fashioned by today's standards but was state-of-the-art back in 2002, and at 8:13 at night, this pale ghost in the window is caught on camera. The ghost in the window is not the investigator. He's standing behind the camera adjusting it at the time. According to him, this window is 7 feet off the ground with no way for anyone to get up there in the first place. I was thinking it was a passing car, but he says the street was quiet as always, so maybe it was an apparition after all. You know, when you're nonchalantly taking video, panning across the room, and this happens? This short clip posted to YouTube by Baku DD is not meant to be a jump scare, but it'll have you jumping scared anyway. As the woman films her apartment with a blurry camera, she pans around to a hallway that appears to be filled with sunlight, perhaps by a window backlighting the area, and there stands a tall, looming figure that apparently shouldn't be there at all, judging by the woman's frightened reaction. The woman shrieks, and the shot moves sideways as she jumps in fright. When she pans back to the hallway, the figure is gone. This is either a fantastic fake or the real deal. Whether you think it's legit or not, it's probably something you wouldn't want to witness in the flesh. Adam Grayson is making a YouTube video at the hospital after a reaction causes his entire hand to swell. His wedding ring presses into flesh of his finger hard enough to cut off the circulation. Now a surgeon has to cut through the thin band of metal with only a trained eye and a tiny circular saw. One slip will make the situation 10 times worse.
Ah, that's hot.
The friction from the saw creates such an intense heat that nurses must repeatedly squirt water on the ring to cool it off. They really do have to delicately cleave through every last millimeter of the ring to get it off. Here, you can just see how close they have to get to Adam's finger before they are able to pry it off. Adam's finger is red and tender. When they are finally finished with the procedure, there is no doubt that in my mind that he would have eventually lost an index finger had he not gotten to the hospital in time. On March 17, 2021, members of Museo del Horror traveled to a derelict building in an unknown city in Mexico, live streaming the entire adventure. Just after beginning their investigation, the group ventures to the side of the building. As they come to some stairs on the side, a faint growl can be heard on the audio. None of the participants noticed it during filming, but viewers were quick to point it out in the comments. It sounds either like a growl or an attempt to whisper something, but it is difficult to determine what. From here, they enter the building, which is hollowed out and falling apart. Nothing of note happens until just after the 40-minute mark of the stream. A high-pitched noise can be heard, almost like a screech or another hiss, albeit longer than the previous one heard. It's also possible that this was the sound of something rubbing against another object, similar to metal rubbing against metal. The last speculation is it could be someone breathing in, possibly one of the explorers, although nobody else seems to be around except Alfondo holding the camera, and he starts speaking before the sound goes away.
Si está bien la distancia, todo está bien.
The team decides to conduct a Ouija board session, which is not recommended for amateur explorers, by the way, to see if they can get any activity. Not long after starting, a very faint voice can be heard on the audio.
¿Hay alguien aquí?
Oh, escucha.
It sounds as if there are words in there, but it is almost impossible to make out. The voice can be heard speaking over questions being asked. Could someone be trying to communicate? Soon they get an answer of yes on the board after being asked a question, and the board remains active for some time. When asked if it is a man, it responds no. Throughout the session, dogs can be heard barking wildly in the background. The dogs were rather quiet prior to starting the Ouija board, and now they are nearly frantic. Animals are known to be sensitive of the paranormal. Could they be distressed at what the team is doing? Or is there another explanation? In the midst of the session, by far the most bizarre event happens. Alfondo's attention is called away to a strange light manifesting on the opposite side of the building from where they are. In the opposite corner, it appears as if a flame has been lit, flickering. Suspicious others might be in the building. They call out and make their way to the area. One of the team members shows a few photos she took, and along with the glow of a fire, the windows make it appear to be daylight outside. However, the video camera always showed the windows to be dark. Furthermore, the photo camera was not using a flash, meaning it could not be a reflection. What could this mean? They decide to do a spirit box session, and instantly, the sounds the box makes sound straight out of a horror movie itself. While it is most likely caused by the rapid switching through radio frequencies, we have never heard another session sound as terrifying as this. Alfondo walks with the device to the other end of the building and throughout hears some disturbing sounds. First, what sounds like someone wailing in distress. The most disturbing capture of the night is what sounds like a child crying out in fear or pain. It's hard to imagine what could have happened at the location, as it appears some manner of horrors still reside there, endlessly crying out in the afterlife. Chad Beauchamra and his family are enjoying themselves on Lake Michigan when an unexplainable cloud formation leaves them breathless.
Wow, that is so wild.
The long tube-like cloud stretches on for miles, making a creepy twisting motion as it moves on. Scientists have named this a morning glory cloud because they do not have a strong grasp as to why or how it exists. The few people who have seen morning glory clouds often describe feeling incredibly small and unimportant in the moment, a feeling that stays with them for a long time. What causes this remains a mystery. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers.